This morning, the First Lady fighting hard to protect not only her reputation, but her brand. Lawyers for Melania Trump refiling a lawsuit against the Daily Mail Online, seeking damages worth more than $150 million.
Hello, I'm Paul Barry. Welcome to Media Watch, and to a new battle in the Trump's war against the media, with the First Lady this time suing one of the world's most popular websites, the Mail Online, for suggesting she once worked as a high-class escort.
I didn't expect media will be so dishonest and so mean.
It's rare, if not unprecedented, for a US president's wife to sue, but it's certainly never been done to defend the First Lady's brand and earning power while she's sitting in the White House.
According to the suit, that false report damaged Mrs. Trump's licensing, marketing, and endorsement opportunities. The suit also states the Daily Mail story couldn't have come at a worse time because Mrs. Trump had the unique once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to launch a broad-based commercial brand in multiple product categories.
Yes, like shoes, clothes, and cosmetics with Melania on the label. So, does Mrs. T have a case, and should the Mail be concerned? Well, one bad sign for the Mail is that Melania's lawyer, Charles Harder, recently won $140 million in damages for Hulk Hogan, bankrupting the US gossip site Gawker and putting it out of business. Another is that the Mail admits it had no basis for its claim and has retracted it. And the good news? Well, it is very hard for public figures in the US to win defamation cases, and Mrs. T will have to prove the Mail was reckless in its disregard for the truth. But experts believe the Mail did its job so badly, Melania may just win.
What she has to prove is that when they published these statements, that the statements were false. So in essence, you're going back to your question, but they were done without any kind of investigation, without any kind of sourcing, without any kind of proof. In fact, both the Daily Mail and Mr. Tarpley know and say that they were just throwing out rumors out there, that these were rumors that they were then going to continue to publish.
This week, Mr. Tarpley, a blogger who made the same claims as the Mail, went the full grovel in court. So we'll see if the Mail now does the same. But its defence has not been helped by this week's verdict from Wikipedia, which has announced the Mail is not to be trusted.
Wikipedia bans Daily Mail as unreliable source. Online encyclopedia editors rule out publisher as a reference, citing reputation for poor fact-checking and sensationalism.
Could be expensive for the Mail in that lawsuit. And lots of work for the editors of Wikipedia, who will now toss out 12,000 links to the Mail and replace them with more reliable sources. The Mail, of course, is also one of Australia's most popular news sites. And if you tuned into our new midweek video, Media Bites, you would have seen this bit of fake news in which it claimed to have snapped members of the dreaded Apex gang, which is terrorising Melbourne. Note the hoodies, black sneakers and conveniently pixelated faces, which perhaps is because this isn't the Apex gang at all. It's a UK hip-hop band called Section Boys. Easy to make the mistake, of course, they are all black. But the Mail has published false and misleading garbage on the Apex gang before.
Exclusive. Olympic gold medalist Usain Bolt, seen on Snapchat partying with gang associates at Australian nightclub.
The Mail claimed last November it had caught the fastest man in the world partying with a prominent associate of the Apex gang in a Melbourne nightclub, thus demonstrating, it claimed, how the gang's criminal web continues to widen. But the black man in the picture, whose face is again conveniently blurred, is actually Nelly Yoa, who is certainly not a gangster, as the Mail well knew.
Hi, my name is Nelly Yoa, and Offside short film is based on my true story.
Nelly Yoa is an ex-professional footballer who's the subject of a recent short film, Offside, which charts his recovery from a vicious machete attack in Melbourne 6 years ago, when he was set upon outside a beauty pageant by a gang of African men. And Yoa's message in the film is that violence is never the answer.
Obviously, learn to forgive, learn to move on and, encourage one another.
Yoa now tries to help young black men turn away from crime. And as you can see from the headlines, he's well known for doing so. So why did the Mail falsely claim he was an Apex gang associate? Yoa told Media Watch,
"There's been bad media reports about the gang, and this is what they do. This is how they sell their content."
The Mail's reporter, Belinda Cleary, should have known the claim was nonsense. because she'd written about Nellie Yoa in the Mail only 3 months earlier, presenting him as a hero. She'd also friended him on Facebook. So we asked Ms. Cleary and the Mail to tell us why they misled their readers. We're still waiting for a reply. Clearly, however, Wikipedia is right. Of course, the Mail is also famous for stealing its rivals' stories and branding them as its own. But since we've outed them for that many times, let's say hello to another serial kleptomaniac. David Richards owns and runs Channel News and a number of other websites dedicated to gadgets and digital trends. And he is a very prolific writer. But last month, at least 16 of his stories relied on large chunks of other people's work, with Dow Jones, Forbes, BBC News, AFP, Fox, and rival tech sites like Phone Arena and Quartz among the many he stole from. And here is one example.
What product dominated at CES 2017?
On 8th of Jan, Richards filed a story on the annual Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas and told his readers that Amazon's Alexa was a standout.
Even though Amazon wasn't showing off Alexa themselves, their digital personal assistant stole the show.
But, amazingly enough, some hours earlier, two writers at Quartz, Dave Gershgorn and Mike Murphy, had reached exactly the same conclusion.
Even though Amazon wasn't showing off Alexa at its own booth, the digital personal assistant stole the show as the most widely integrated technology. It was hooked up with smart speakers, refrigerators, lamps, robots, cars, and the list goes on.
Further down his story on Alexa, Richards chimed in with another technology reporter, Chris Baraniuk from BBC News, who'd already told his readers,
Alexa can, with a quick bit of programming, be adapted to lock car doors or tell you when your washing machine's cycle will finish. Perhaps this is how Amazon has cornered so much of the market, by explicitly designing a flexible AI that allows companies to implement it as they see fit.
And there's plenty more like that. What's more, it's not the first time we've caught David Richards copying other people's work, or even the second. MediaWatch first pinged him for plagiarism in 2008, and then again in 2010, awarding him the Phantom of the Internet trophy after he claimed his websites must have been hacked by people out to discredit him. So, what's his latest excuse? Simple, says Richards.
This is not content that is unique. What you have provided are quotes that were in the public domain.
Well, that is just rubbish. It's the analysis from journalists he's copied word for word. Richards also told us that if he notes the source like this,
The Wall Street Journal claims,
he is entitled to copy as much as he likes. But that is rubbish too, according to Jeremy Kaplan, editor-in-chief of Digital Trends in New York, who told us angrily,
The world of blogging has led many to think the words, according to so-and-so, make it okay to then lift a few lines or even paragraphs from someone else. Let me be clear, it's not okay. We've fired writers for this in the past.
But don't expect Richards to be firing himself anytime soon. And don't expect contrition. He claims his copying is perfectly legal. And it's possible the courts would agree, which may be why the Daily Mail continues to get away with it. But ethical, it most certainly is not. And now, let's turn to the ABC and the death of one of its most distinctive shows.
Hello and welcome to Good Game. I'm Barjo.
And I'm Hex.
The ABC's Good Game pioneered video game coverage on Australian TV and ran for 10 years. But 2 weeks ago came news it won't be back in 2017, to the dismay of fans.
But it's sad to see something that ran for over 10 years and was the most successful gaming show in Australia just get cancelled.
All I can say is there were a lot of people here in Australia that grew up watching this show, and I know I personally loved it. So for one last time, let's raise our controllers and say thanks to those that made it happen.
So why was Good Game canned? Well, last month, two of the show's star presenters, Hex and Nick, jumped ship to Channel 7, which wants to start its own new gaming show. And this prompted the ABC to call it quits, telling Good Game's Facebook followers,
sad news. The ABC has decided to end the long and successful run of the show.
Which prompted a rash of angry comments.
What? That is insanity.
Seriously?
Aw, I love this show, and I'm not even a gamer.
Good Game was not cheap and did not enjoy massive ratings. Its average audience last year for the weekly half-hour show was a little over 100,000. But on YouTube, it was a smash and the ABC's top programme, with nearly 11 million views since 2012. Meanwhile, 89% of its viewers on the ABC were under 49, which is just the demographic that every TV network is dying for. When the ABC's new managing director, Michelle Guthrie, took over last year, she urged the ABC to offer
distinctive and relevant content, not just to the under 12s and to the over 45s, but to all Australians.
And she told The Australian,
we need to see digital as an opportunity to connect with many more people than we currently do with existing platforms.
Now that is surely what Good Game and its many spin-offs were doing. So why not keep it going with new presenters?
We would have enjoyed going to battle with Channel 7. The content would have won. The viewers would have... It would have been a win for Australian gamers, I think.
Two shows on TV.
Two shows about taking games seriously. Win, 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 right?
Yeah.
And then we spent quite a lot of time thinking about what we could do. And then, the news came down from management.
So what was management's thinking? Seems they believed it was time to hit the refresh button.
We decided it was a good time for the renewal of that content and a fresh way to deliver it. Obviously, we value and are committed to all ABC audiences, and we look forward to announcing new programming in this space in the future.
Good luck with that. Meanwhile, departing host Stephanie Hex-Bennigsen has taken to Facebook to defend her decision to leave and to take a parting shot at those who axed the show.
The Good Game team and I truly believe that even if I had stayed, the show would not have likely lasted more than 6 to 12 months. Faith in the brand seems to have disappeared, and my decision to leave, along with Nick, simply served as the catalyst for the ABC's decision to let it go. It was devastating.
And we should point out that Good Game's spin-off for kids, Spawn Point, will be back this year, possibly bigger and better. And finally tonight, to Sky News star and self-styled outsider Ross Cameron, who has excelled himself again and made it to the cover of Saturday's Sydney Morning Herald.
Vitriol, far-right style.
Cameron attracted attention at a fundraiser in Sydney last Thursday, 9th of February, for the Anti-Muslim Q Society, which also boasts among its backers Senator Cory Bernardi, George Christensen MP and cartoonist Larry Pickering, who told the Sydney crowd,
I can't stand Muslims, right? I just can't stand them. But they're not all bad. They do chuck pillow biters off buildings, I suppose.
Cameron laid into the ABC, The Guardian and the Sydney Morning Homosexual, as he called it, and then set off on a rambling spray.
I'm not really anti-gay. Hadrian fell in love with a young Greek boy, Antinous, who fell off the back of a barge and drowned. I'm sure they were probably snorting coke at the time. I know, like the New South Wales Division of the Liberal Party is basically a gay, club. And I don't mind, that most of our parliamentary class is gay. I just wish, like Hadrian, they build a damn wall.
Cameron described himself at the meeting as an amateur whom Sky News makes the mistake of handing the microphone to. And several Sky commentators clearly agree. Political editor David Spears called the Q Society event appalling, and Peter Van Onselen said he was scared where this kind of hate is going. While another Sky host, Janine Perrott, laid into him on air.
If the reporting of these comments has caused someone to feel a greater sense of isolation over their attraction, then I very sincerely apologise.
That was the worst apology I've ever heard. If the reporting of these comments, not the comments, the reporting of them. So if they weren't reported, then you wouldn't apologise.
Well, no.
Last year we asked how on earth is Ross Cameron still on air? Since then, he's scored his own show on Sky with two other outsiders, Mark Latham and Rowan Dean, and it's one of Sky's most popular programmes. Seems his particular brand of hate goes down very well with some people. And you can read more about tonight's stories on our Facebook page or our website, where you can get a transcript and download the programme. You can also catch up with us on iView and contact me or MediaWatch on Twitter. But for now, until next week, that's all from us. Goodbye.